governing body of the local government from granting voting status, etc. It does not, to my observation, keep them from participating.
No, but they're not required to be here. Right.
And, very good.
Couple more questions for you, sir. You
Absolutely.
state that the application for rezoning fails to provide a factual basis to justify a major change in rezoning. And number two, the proposed action is premature and should not be considered at this time. Can you show me the standards of review in the Land Development Code that states this is part of our process?
No.
Okay. You also mentioned that the neighbor property owners and residents did not receive sufficient legal notice of the intended action. Can you point out our legal requirement that we did not meet?
I do not wish to say that you did not meet the legal requirement there. Mr. Terrell was going to address that at somewhat greater length.
Well, you say that you stated, and you've made that statement to the board.
I will withdraw that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make some more comments. As Mr. Chansey pointed out, the staff number that we're using is 2.2 million square feet. And I also want to point something out to you that our expert has quoted that we would be at roughly 4.4 million square feet. He's ignoring Land Use Policy 8.1.6 that limits the FAR to 0.5. So all his quotations of using 4.4 million square feet for impacts is incorrect.
Didn't you make that same mistake in your first report?
Yes, sir.
You made the same mistake.
Yes, sir.
So it's a mistake, like
Yeah.
Zimmerman said, it's a mistake.
If I may, I was quoting only from the future land use element and not from
That's fine.
the code.
No, but my point is in the future land use element, there is a policy that restricts this to 0.5. So we cannot get to 4.4 million.
Okay, so we're at 2 point whatever million.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
In discussion of policy L 1.3, says that the application or the staff analysis offers any competent or substantial evidence that the parcel will be developed in close proximity, etc. That was addressed at the comp plan stage when they made the comp plan amendment to this. That would have been considered at that point.
Say that again.
When the decision was made to change this land use, that statement would have been considered at that point.
Okay, tell me the statement.
Yeah, because I'm getting it, but I'm not quite getting it.
Neither the application or the staff analysis offers any competent or substantial evidence that the parcel will be developed in close proximity to maintain or reduce distances between residence, employment areas, commercial areas, and entertainment areas. My statement to you is that would have been addressed at the comp plan stage.
Yeah, but that whole area was addressed. It was like a
Exactly.
broad, the whole thing.
Exactly.
As an underlayment. Now we're getting to the nitty-gritty, like he said. Future land use map is one thing. Now we're coming back to the zoning level, the application for that. And I'll be honest with you, once this board either recommends, let's just say it recommends, and it goes to the Board of County Commissioners and they approve it, the county as boards has lost control. The applicant then can ask for anything under that CIBC that they want to. And like he said, you can't come back. I mean, everybody does it. We rezone stuff here usually with hardly anybody here. But when something site-specific starts going in, hey, the door's already been open. You should have been here back when. Because it's coming before us as a site development plan. We can't say, no, that can't be there. We can say, yeah, it's gonna be there, but we gotta put this and buffer and lights and fences and whatever else, but it's coming. So I agree with his statement. But that's the second level, that's where we're at now. The first level broad, all around
Right.
Old Braden Road and everything has been painted with highway mixed use. This is now getting site-specific with parcel numbers and everything, and is elevating to that next level, which is the scrutiny is beginning. But once this is passed, we've lost control. True or not?
No, I don't believe you have. I believe the site plan process gives you even more control than this.
I didn't want to bring this up, but we have buildings being built in that park that we don't see as a board. And we're going to talk about it when this is over. And Mr. Hunter said, oh, there's 8. Yes, there is 8 that's permitted uses that we don't see. He said we would see these other things. The PF Mann building, as you well know, when I looked into it, did not come before this board. And what did you do? You asked the Board of County Commissioners for an exemption. Swept under the rug, this board never saw it. Now, I found another one yesterday. When's it gonna stop? But everybody's assuring me that it's gonna come back before this board, and we're gonna have a specific site to development with. Well, and we'll disagree to disagree, but there's 3 buildings that's gone in that park, 1 under false pretenses, in my opinion, and 2 that didn't even come before this board. Now, how are you gonna assure the public that it's gonna come before this board?
We have to follow the procedures that we have. And yes, there have been mistakes
You
been
had
made.
procedures in the past, and they've gone,
Mistakes have been made. I've made a mistake. Other people have made mistakes in
and
the
I
past.
understand this last one is not yours, I understand that, but it has happened in the IDA park.
Yes, sir.
So did Nancy Krebs, she made a mistake.
So how, again, are we in the public, more the public, how are they to be assured that every I is dotted, every T is crossed, and everything is done properly?
We just have to redouble our efforts to make it happen.
Well, I just think 3 out of 20 buildings that I've looked into, I'm ready to stop looking, because everything I look into, something crops up. And it's hard for me to sit up here and vote on something. Okay, I know the process. I know the process probably better than anybody. But how am I going to vote assuring the public that everything is going to be done by the book?
I've already answered that.
Okay, we have,
Me?
can you be brief, Lee? Yes. You didn't answer my question, can you be brief?
How brief you want me to be? You need to go home and watch television or something? This ain't important to you?
You don't have to get, I
You-
just asked a simple question and you're already.
I've sat there and watched you act like you want out of this place. You had an expert up here talking, you want to shut him up. Now,
I'm not gonna stand for this.
why, you ain't man enough to take the truth?
I can take whatever you got, but I'm not gonna stand here and listen to you say what you're saying. So let's just cool it. I offered to have you speak.
Okay, but you was wanting me to shut up before I started.
I just asked how long it was gonna be and you wouldn't tell me.
I'll do it as quick as I can.
That's fine.
I'll skip a lot of the notes I got.
That's fine.
And I'm not an expert either, but I'm an expert on a lot of things in life. I've been there, done it. Okay,
Mr. Kirkland, excuse me, remind me of your mailing address, hon.
3846 Fossil Road, Bowling Green,
Thank you.
33834.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just got upset, pissed off. Forgive me. It was a mistake. Okay. The first gentleman, expert gentleman that got up, he talked about a conceptual plan, or, is all this is. Which is what? Somebody's daydream they wrote down on a piece of paper. it's not addressing anything that's real. It could be addressing anything. Okay. Then he talked about he could give more information. How can he give enough information when he doesn't have an idea what kind of specific businesses and stuff are going there? So how can he give you enough information for you to make up your mind? All right. Then he's talking about the road, fixing the road turn-in lane. And the state statutes call, and we're not seeing this happen. And it is related to this because if you zone it, then the next guy is gonna take public money and put this lane in. When the state statutes call for these people, these valid applicants, which we don't see, to be financially able to pay for these infrastructures, such as that water treatment plant down there that the county paid for, that one of them companies' bill slipped in, messed up, and they had to spend a lot of money, I don't know how much, to fix it, and then they put a water plant in. And that's some infrastructure that the applicants ought to be supporting. There's no sense in the county paying 100% of whatever it costs to put these places in. But I'm trying to stick to this subject. The idea is here, like somebody said, you just need to go do it lot by lot if you're going to do it like this. And then you're not got a loaded gun. You don't got any problems with not knowing what's going to do. You get all the information, I presume, before you zone. So I'm asking you to look out for us, for the citizens. That's what you're appointed, that's what the statutes say that you are. You're supposed to be looking out for the citizens' interest. And so all of these jobs, this stuff that's going in there, he talked about impacts. It's like, he's just talking musical chairs. Considering unknown impacts, negative or positive, he don't know because he don't know what's going on. And I know this is repeated and everybody else is repeated, so I want to get off that a little bit. But talking about welding, manufacturing, and things like that, I worked for Modern Welding in Orlando. We manufactured fuel tanks. I live 10, 15 miles away. Any night you want to be in my house, you can hear those guys with their sledgehammers in those tanks putting them together. And the grinding, the grinders and all this stuff. So if you got neighbors out there, you can't just open the door to any kind of manufacturing. It needs to be limited to daytime. There needs to be a lot of limits put on it. So there needs to be a lot of language in protecting. And you talk about a wholesale distributor. Well, you get some of those guys, and they're going to be 24 hours a day with big trucks ripping in and out, and forklifts running around, beeping, and just all kind of things that could mess with it. I don't live out there, but I went out there and seen those people, and these things just need to be talking about heavy equipment repair. I've been in that business. We work. When you got something tore up, it's getting fixed. Somebody's going to be around there grinding, hammering, and running impact wrenches and night and day till that piece of equipment gets going. You know that. You've been so just consider it, all these things before you throw this thing down. It just it's too important to get in a rush, and that's what I've got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney.
Roger, believe it or not, I won't take 3 minutes.
Okay.
John Roy Goff, 2097 Dansby Road. I just retired from the largest fertilizer company in the North American continent, and we've been trying to put a plant in Florida for about 4 years now. I don't know exactly what Jeff and them are their base materials, but a fertilizer plant, there's a lot of places, if you gave them the money, free taxes and everything else, they would not set up a fertilizer plant this close to people and that school up there. Fertilizer plants don't locate in that situation under today's regulations. It is too risky. They will not accept the liability.
We got 2 and a third one coming.
Well, the liability today, I don't know how they're going to formulate, whatever. We wouldn't even sell straight ammonium nitrate anymore. But it's just too close to folks and too close to that school up there. And nobody uses it, believes in the use of fertilizer any more than I do. But this is too close to civilization for somebody under today's standards. And I would certainly want, before the final recommendations made, that you get the experts in from the agencies and see what the liabilities and what you got to do when you have that problem. And you're going to have a problem in a fertilizer plant, I promise you.
Done right, because you retired from that company. Would you call a fertilizer company a plant food mixing?
Well, plant food mixing would be Keyplex. The Keyplex facility is a great facility. It's a liquid nutritional. But when you get into dry fertilizer materials,
We don't have plant food mixing as a slot to plug a hole into.
It's a chemical.
Now, the building department and the fire marshal required those buildings, the 2 that are out there, to be sprinkled.
well, we don't.
Not fertilizer plants, why are they sprinkled?
Well, I'm not a fertilizer expert. I spent my time in the chemical end of the business, but I can assure you in the chemical end of it, it's evacuation. We have signed all over America, signed agreements with fire departments. You don't put fire on chemicals. You just don't do that. Now, fertilizer, I'm not that much of an expert on fertilizer. I don't know if they go in and pour fire on it. I think they did the one in Waco or whatever, but irregardless, evacuate or water or whatever means, when you're that close to that school where I got a grandkid going up there now and a daughter-in-law that's teaching, and you in there next to these people up there, is just beyond what I'd think a company would accept the liability for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lex Albritton, 4602 US Highway 17 South, Sappho Springs. I just want to add to the comments on the school board. At BJ, I want you to make a note for me. We have requested the school board to have a member to sit on this in the past. I personally made that request. They have denied, stated as long as they can see the permits. But what I will do, that was under a different school superintendent with Mr. Jones. Now we have Mr. Durstani. BJ, if you can remind me, I'll send a letter and I'll contact Mr. Durstani to make them an offer again on that particular thing. And then I'd like to say in general, not for the industrial park, not any specific place. And just for those who, land development codes and planning is a difficult and a complex situation, as you well know. What's the land development code? 500 pages you guys work with? Unfortunately, and we've experienced this time after time after time, and it's not to say plus or minus or negative or positive on either side. Unfortunately, in governance and land codes in itself, because you establish the flume, as what the future land use, as Don said, and then your underlying zoning. But you establish those future land uses, and they were not established except for the particular ratio for protection. They're not established for this park. They're established for potential consideration across this county. So you can always come up here and pick the most egregious thing that can be done when you want to oppose something. Or you can come up and say, we'll do it in the next step, whatever. But it's not the application or the applicant, whether it be the IDA or John Doe. It's not the applicant you got to trust, that the citizens have to trust. It's you. And you can make fun, you can pass humor, 3 out of 5 can do anything. You are all vested with the responsibility to protect. And Mr. Chancellor, you are also vested in responsibility to protect the health, welfare, and safety Welfare is a big description, so I disagree with you totally that you have no obligation to look at other things. But
Wait a minute, when did I say I had no obligation to look at anything? I've looked at everything.
I heard what you said. Now, you have a difficult time because experts on either side always come. We can't develop land development codes and comprehensive plans to identify everywhere that we may try to lay them. So therefore, I can sit here and say when you disagree with Table 29, well, where were you at 30 years ago when the previous board established this permitted use? That's a correct statement, but that's the way we work. You are charged with responsibility not to allow fertilizer plants. Maybe the definition has to be defined, but you have to make that decision. You protect. You stop it at the next level. You disallow, and the board disallows, storage of things that are dangerous. Special exceptions have tremendous leeway to deny without any legal repercussions. You deny a permitted use, or if there's substantial evidence under the Table 29 or others, you deny it, you face litigation. But under special exception and major special exception, you got all kind of leeway to condition and to deny and not be attacked legally for what you did.
You said about the, where were you 30 years ago? That when did the CIBC zoning come into effect?
I'm just saying in general, Don,
In 2008, it was your application.
I am
by
not
the
referring
county.
to CIBC. I'm talking about land development code, in particular, any future land use. They are put in the code to apply. Whether you add a new one, take away a new one, whatever. They're not, you cannot specifically, as you set a zoning in your land development code, know where in the future an applicant is going to make the request. So you rely, as staff has said, upon the next levels for protection. I don't care if it's CIB, whatever, Don. I'm just making a general statement in how the processes work. And we rely on those processes. If you don't like what we're doing, you deny those processes being valid.
7.04.05?
Pardon?
Do you like 7.04.05?
I don't even care what it says. Listen to what I'm saying. Generically, future land uses and zoning are established for use in this county over periods of time and can be sought to be placed anywhere. I am not speaking specifically to any part of the code. Any county in this state does the same thing. They just name them different. I'm not addressing this application.
Please repeat what you said our job was, is to protect. Go ahead, say it all.
You protect, but also you have
Safety,
a responsibility, welfare.
Right.
Define it.
I opened my comment when I started this. I was not against the industrial park. This board is not here to create jobs. We are strictly ULDC. Their job is jobs, not us.
Government's responsibility is to create an environment. It's
If you put
not
it in
to
the
establish,
proper
but create
place,
the
we can.
environment. Don't pick and choose and take the words you want
If
to
you put
do.
it in the proper place, you can.
Right.
Anyone else out in the public out there been here this long?
Since there's no other comments, is there any comments from the board?
Got several.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion.
Hang on a
I
minute.
don't know a motion yet. We need to discuss.
I'm not ready for
We can
you.
discuss after a motion. That's normal Robert's rules.
We can, you can hold just a second, Don, please. I mean, it's okay.
On now,
Nick, I mean, we've allowed you to talk. Give Nick a chance, okay?
I have not let anybody not talk.
Okay, I didn't say that. I just said give Nick a chance. Make a few comments.
Well, from what I can discern and hear tonight, we're here to face a zoning issue. And you're talking about compatibility. This is an extension of an existing commerce park. Is that correct? You're taking up more. And the one we have is pretty adequate as far as I can see. We have new jobs and it's clean, and I don't understand all the talk about explosive plants. They all have to make the trip again to be permitted. You know that. And I just don't get all the smoke I see. There's a lot of smoke blowing around here. And I don't get it. I don't understand what all the hype is about. You can control what goes in there.
Wait a minute, when you said blowing smoke, who's blowing smoke?
I see a lot of smoke around.
No, you said blowing smoke.
I said blowing smoke. That's exactly what I
Who's
said. Are you gonna let me talk, or you gonna?
I'd like you to answer what you
I don't have to,
Let's, hey, please.
think of anything else. When I said it, I said it.
I just asked you
We
to
don't
clarify.
need to try to analyze every
We're
word.
not analyzing smoke. We're analyzing where we're gonna have jobs in this county. And why would you pass up this opportunity? For,
Nick, can I ask you something?
sure.
Nobody's against jobs in this county. Would you want a 3 Mile Island that's gonna create jobs in this county?
There's not gonna be a 3 Mile
Don't
Island. You
use
know
that
that,
word.
John Roy.
You're talking blowing smoke, I'm one of them, you're talking blow. How many fertilizer plants have you seen blow up? There's more of them than anything else in that industrial park out there. Now,
I
you
don't
want a
believe-
3 Mile Island here, you got jobs. Just keep sticking to that statement.
See, most of us need jobs, John. Roy. We don't
I
have.
understand that.
We're not so well off that we can leave our grandchildren inheritance.
I'm not, I'm
People need jobs.
I'm not debating that,
Oh, yeah?
but I'm not hanging on one term.
All right, anyway, I think it's a good thing, and I'll be definitely in favor of it.
Comments from other board members?
I'm not opposed to light manufacturing, but where I see we're headed with this right now is not where I think we should go.
Is there any heavy manufacturing going on out there in the Crescent Commerce Park? I mean, other than the marine place?
Fertilizer plants, 2 of them.
2 of them, okay.
And Mr. Chairman's right, I don't remember seeing.
There are not any agencies that
We don't talk about
control, any
this
agencies
happening this-
control fertilizer plants for, as far as being dangerous?
Dang straight, they're dangerous.
But they're not permit, I mean, nobody watches over them?
Well, we sure,
Agencies?
we ain't seen them. They went under the radar.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Well, we're gonna talk about it when this is over.
All right, Drew, do you have anything?
I've sitting here and listened, and I mean, we build this commerce park for our county. The reason why they're pushing this in high industry is because you want to open up. All these people they're looking for places to start businesses, and they're going to go to the place where where you have the highest potential. You go to the place where you're going to have the highest potential to start a business. And like I said, I see why we're trying to open this up. Like I said, there's a lot of people that they're sitting here and they'll deny, like fertilizer plants and explosives. That stuff's not going to make it into this commerce park area. I don't believe that.
Say that statement again.
High explosives, plants and stuff like that, that's what we're worried about coming into this the industrial park here. They're worried about stuff that's going to affect the school board, stuff that's going to affect the surrounding people.
Do you think the fertilizer plants that are there could affect?
I think that they're very minimal,
Low risk.
Now,
very low risk.
At the
I mean, they're not
IDA
producing ammonium nitrate, and that's what's been exploding all over
At
around the
the
world.
IDA board meeting, they said they got 80,000 square foot building coming of a fertilizer plant. The ones that out there are what, 12 and 20?
Yeah, right.
This one's 80,000 square acres.
And it's coming.
It's coming. It's gonna come before us.
It's going to come before us, but we're going to be able
It
to.
doesn't make a difference. If you store it, it's a fertilizer plant.
Or can.
Yes.
I mean, that's why. I mean, we're kind of handcuffed. I don't want to handcuff ourselves to where we can't say, well, because there are large industrial things that will help us. I mean, we have the final say in what's going to come in and what's going to go out.
Drew, if you would look at the chart, everything under CIBC, just take a look at it.
Okay.
Everything that is P is permitted, there's 8 of them.
Yeah.
The D's are site development plan, the M is major special exception, and the S is special exception. Look at the M and the S's and the D's and see, and look at them and see if you're comfortable with them being in that park.
All right, I have,
This is only 2 seconds.
okay.
What you haven't talked about is the transportation of the fertilizer in and out. There's trucks that are exploding all over the country due to accidents. Continue, add that to your discussion.
Well, since some of y'all are in the agricultural, I agree, Keyflex M does not manufacture the actual aggregate, okay? But it's brought in and it's stored, it's coated. You call and order an analysis of a grove and you need this type of formula. They mix that formula for you. There it is. True, they did not make, Florida Fertilizer doesn't make the stuff. It's trucked in. You take your analysis in there and they mix it for you, whether it's 666, 15, 418, whatever the formula is. It's a fertilizer. There's no way of cutting it around. It's a fertilizer. And the only category we have is a fertilizer plant. If y'all would like to look at the chart, guess what? It takes a major special exception, which yes, comes before this board. But the 2 plants that are out there did not come before us for a major special exception. So how are we protecting the public?
Does Florida Fertilizer have a lot of problems? They have neighbors
They got neighbors across the street.
next door, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Across the street, next door.
Yeah, but it's not adjoining the property line. There is not a residence at Florida Fertilizer that adjoins Florida Fertilizer.
Yeah, there's a
Highway
community
17.
deal.
There's Highway 17.
It's right across the street.
Highway 17. These 23 residences abut those 4 proposed parcels. And it could be a fertilizer plant, it could be a chemical plant, it could be anything. That's the whole thing.
Nick, can I answer your question? I went down there when they had a fire. One of the owners, trained, fully trained, our fire department wouldn't let them into that. They had a fire. It caught fire. And we're so on top of our game, the fire department wouldn't even let one of the members of the family that's as trained as they are into the building. Yes, Florida Fertilizer had a fire. We will not even use sludge anymore because sludge will catch fire. And we're no longer allowed to use sludge. We fill with other products, sand, whatever. But we don't, some of the Florida plants still do. If you got a fertilizer plant and you deal with any sludge, you will have a fire. The question's what day.
We've commented out, we've talked, I'm gonna
Make a motion
motion.
to recommend denial of agenda number 14-01 to the Board of County Commissioners based on number 1, 7.0405, the rules and that we're supposed to apply. I do not think that it meets the compatibility and future uses of the park with existing surrounding zonings. And I have not seen anything that changed my mind from the last meeting, and especially since we have had an AICP, which is a certified planner, pretty much agree with those comments on B and C. And the specific one is number 3, the proposed use is incompatible with existing neighborhood residential uses. And the number 4, the proposed use will place long-term impact on neighboring public schools. And for that reason, I make the denial, recommendation for denial.
And I have a second. All right, I have a motion and a second for a recommendation of a denial for agenda number 14-01. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ms. BJ, we need Don and Hunt. Okay. All not in favor of the motion, signify by saying the same sign.
I have not voted. Can I ask a question?
I call for the vote.
I know.
recommendation has been made. Votes are, Ms. BJ, you okay on votes?
Wilson
Okay.
voted to deny.
Can I
Tanci voted
request a individual vote,
A roll call vote?
roll call vote?
Sure. Just one second. We'll just start it this way. Chansey?
Yes.
Yes to deny. Conley is abstaining. Chalk,
No.
you're yes to deny or no?
No.
No. Thank you. Norris,
Yes to deny.
thank you. Timmerman,
No to deny.
thank you. Wilson,
Yes to deny.
Mr. Chairman, we have 3 votes yes to deny, 2 votes no to deny, and 1 abstaining.
Okay, thank you.
The request for the rezoning.
Yes. The Board of County Commissioners to hold second reading, well, not, is that correct?
First reading.
First reading, I'm sorry. On the agenda, the ordinance number 24. Am I reading?
You want me to read it again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Board of County Commissioners will hold a first reading public hearing for ordinance number 2014-05 and receive the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Board on Thursday, April 24, 6:05 p.m. in the Hardy County Civic Center, 515 Civic Center Drive, Wauchula, Florida. And the DOCC will hold a second reading public hearing of the same ordinance number on Thursday, May 1st, 2014, 8:35 a.m. in the Hardy County School Board Room at this location.
The hours, please, again?
April 24th will be 6:05 p.m. in the Hardy County Civic Center. Thursday, May 1st will be 8:35 a.m. in the Hardy County School Board Room at this location.
Thank you.
Any other business, Ms. BJ?
I have nothing here, Mr. Chairman. Board members may have something else.
May I request, Madam Secretary,
Yes, sir.
could you place a page number at the bottom of each page?
At the bottom as well as at the top.
I contributed to that.
Listen, I know we're here late, and I want to talk about some other things. I think I'd rather put it on the agenda for next month, because it ain't going to change one thing or another, but I think as a board, some light needs to come up on some applications and some things that have slipped through the system, and I think we'd do better to talk about it when we're a little bit fresher and newer, but I would like to ask the board to put it on the agenda.
All right, that sounds good enough. Probably,
If you've got the right month.
when is our next meeting?
May 1st.
April 1st. Can we,
What would you like to title it, please? I mean, that was quite a discussion of what you want to say, so what would you like for me to show it as?
Applications not becoming before the planning and zoning board
Application for zoning actions
and being built.
so like site development?
failing to...
Buildings that are built and we never saw.
Well, that would,
I mean, you can word it however you want to word it.
yeah.
Okay, and the construction permits issued.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Haney, don't we have a pretty heavy schedule?
Well, that's what I'm gonna ask you. I didn't know how.
We have 3.
We have 3 amendments to the comprehensive plan, I believe, on May 1st.
It doesn't have to be May 1st. Y'all can deal with it. We can
Okay.
deal with it whenever. I mean, it just needs to be dealt with.
We don't want to forget it.
Right.
Okay.
So if we have time going,
If there's time allowed, that's fine. If not, we can move
would
it.
that be something that we would have to put in our,
Do you want to workshop it?
That means an extra meeting, right?
Yes, sir. You want to look at it, you want to consider it for May 1st, but if
Do
it
we have
gets
any other
late...
workshops pending?
No, sir.
No.
If it gets late, we'll move it to June.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
okay, all right, that sounds good. I just didn't want it to be something that needed to be advertised and then you didn't do it.
Right. No, this is more of a
Just a,
more discussion
Housekeeping.
of what
yeah,
y'all want to do.
right, okay. All right, with all said, motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you very, thank you everyone.